Warning, this show contains adult language. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey party people, welcome back. Today is Sunday, early afternoon, and I gotta say, I like Sunday early afternoons. There's a certain expectation of activities on Sunday that are different than any other day of the week. Whether it's lazing about the house, avoiding going to church, or eating pancakes at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's something that is best enjoyed with friends. So let me be your friend. Let me be your brunch date and strap in because we are going to take a deep dive into the Colourpop Brunch Date Collection. So the brunch date launched on February 27th, 2019. I saw a Facebook ad about a week later introducing me to this collection. It looked cute, and for all of this shit you get, it was only $92, so I figured, why the fuck not? If you could see the smoke coming off of this, but this is the second studio light that wanted to catch on fire while I was filming. Thank fucking God I do not leave these on when I'm not filming. This is insanity to me. If this film's lighting situation is all messed up, which it was very promising that it might not be messed up today. But anyways, if my lighting situation's fucked, it's because of this. This is fucking dangerous. It's still smoking. So, I'm just going to have to rely on the mystical powers of the sun. 3, 2, 1. Fuck. So as I was saying, I was exposed to the existence of this collection via Facebook ad. It looked really good as far as having a good range of different components and product types included. And the price was good. For all of this shit, I paid $92. So they call this the PR package. Usually when you think about PR, you're like, oh, public relations. I'm getting this shit for free. I didn't get this for free. I had to pay for it. So I am going to go into this component by component and share my thoughts, because definitely as far as a collection, I think it's decent, and I'll tell you why. But there are certain components that I like a lot more than other components. So I'm gonna dissect this thing starting with the eyeshadow palette. So here it is, the outside box for the Brunch Date palette. And you'll notice that it says Zoella or Zoella times Colourpop. I guess that's an influencer, vlogger of sorts. I'm not very familiar with her, so I don't know why she's special enough to make makeup with Colourpop and I'm not. Well, I know why I'm not, but I don't know why she is special enough to make makeup with Colourpop. So this is pretty cute. So if we break into the actual palette itself, we see that it is a rose neutral palette with a pop of a complementary color. This is a classic trick that makeup companies use to get you to buy things. It's either a pop of a complementary color, which is part of the undertone story, or another trick that they use is called like the duochrome moment, and we'll get into that in a minute. But anyway, so you have a combination of mattes, you have some shimmers, and you have a glitter shade. So I used this palette in every look I made for the past 7 days. I used it in this look today, and I gotta share a few thoughts with you. The formula on these eyeshadows, whether it be a matte or a foil shade, is pretty good. The color, as you can see, saturation is good. The blendability is fucking awesome. They don't have any kind of weird strong smells. And I could create a good variety of looks. As you could see throughout the week, I made different looks for different purposes. I went to brunch one day. I wore this, going to work, going out. So it does have some versatility. However, there's not a lot of variation between the looks themselves, honestly. Like, you can kind of introduce that blue into there to, change things up a little bit, but for the most part, you're kind of limited. So if you're looking for something that you could pull off, like, a variety of completely different looks, in my humble opinion, that's not going to achieve that. Another thing I do have to point out is this color right here. I don't know if the light's picking it up because, I only got one light now and a skylight. This has glitter in it. It doesn't really translate on the lid as far as I've been seeing. I used it. It's a cool brown. But as far as the glitter, I never really seen it pick up. I haven't done my whole lid with it yet, which would be weird to me for the type of makeup that I do. But it does not look as glittery on as it does in the pan. Speaking of the blue itself, it is a pressed pigment. So it is going to be kind of a nightmare to use in certain contexts. So I think I did okay with it. I didn't go all hog wild too much. But it is just, I can touch it a little bit. It's just a royal blue. It serves its purpose. That's it. Blend it a little bit. So it does help create a situation where you have a little bit more variety with this palette because, quite frankly, this palette's been done before. A YouTuber tried to make a thing about it, which is fucking super hilarious. They try to say that this is a scam, and this copied another palette, was a collab that came out, Colourpop, and part of the evidence is because the names don't really correlate with the color, such as like champagne toast. Yeah, that totally makes sense because that's a champagne-y color. But extra slice, that glittery brown, that kind of doesn't make sense. But a lot of times, especially with Colourpop, a lot of the times the names of the color don't really make sense as far as either the palette or the color itself. But as far as this being this grandiose conspiracy with this palette already existing, there's a bunch of palettes that have already existed. So let's address that. So first, the color story. The overall rose gold thing has been done before. This palette, the Naked 3, has pretty much the same shades. It even has a glittery dark brown like the other one, and this does read more of a dark cherry moment. But this is very similar. Rose gold, it's been done. The other one's more gold. This one's a little bit more rose. But I think it's more similar to the Violet Voss Holy Grail, which is a palette I still use to this day. A lot of the same things. Like this color is very similar to a color in the palette. It has more colors, but it has some of those more rosy moments. No blue, but Another palette that has a very similar color story, I think is extremely close, is this palette. It was created with Makeup Geek and the name we will not speak. And people went fucking apeshit for this in 2016, as well as this one and this one. So this is a good palette of the same color family story, and instead of the pop of blue, this has the duochrome moment with this red with a green shift. I still like this color, even though it just crumbles into pieces. So now addressing the whole controversy where they're like, oh, well, it was a direct rip of this other palette that has a blue. Well, there's other palettes that are going to get in line with that palette. It's not the only one. So this one is Volcano Goddess by Becca. It kind of is a twofer. You got your neutral side plus a bunch of shimmers with your pop of blue. The Gwen Stefani palette, also neutral. This is a cool neutral palette. And you got your pop of blue there. You also have your pop of gold right next to the blue. So they're really wanting you to pick up on the complementary factor. So this isn't a tactic that is brand new. This is, I have the semi-sweet over there, same thing, neutral palette with a blue, which I was raving about in another video. So it totally works on all of us, including myself, because I have attention span of a fruit fly. But anyways, the whole concept of the pop of blue has nothing to do with one palette that came out, 11 months before this collection. So sorry. I think a bigger conspiracy theory is the fact that the person that had the collab shows up in one of the ads for the collaboration with the worst fucking makeup job I've ever seen in my life. Like, those fucking brows, really? Like, who looked at this and was like, yep, that's the one? Like, I don't know. They said if they still have a job, they shouldn't have a job. They just shouldn't have a job. So staying eye related and kind of sticking with the parts of, you know, the makeup I used on the eye look itself, it also comes with this. This is called the Group Hug Bundle, and it has 2 liquid eyeshadows on here, which really couldn't be more similar. So you see them swatched and side by side. I'll pull them out of this, which I ripped by accident. I don't remember when, so I must have been in some kind of fucking blind rage. But look at, even in the tubes. Can you tell these apart? To even further illustrate this point, I put this one, Bellini. Yep, I actually put them in the right hand. I put this one, Bellini, on this eye, while putting this one on this eye. And you can see that this one reads a little bit more champagne-y, and this one's a little bit more rose gold. Another thing I noticed that's slightly different is the formula. So this one, which I did not videotape, after I put this one on and used it, once it was really dried and dried down, it was flaking off like a motherfucker. Like, huge chunks of this was coming off. Whereas this one really didn't have that factor, and I put them on evenly. Throughout the week when I wore one or the other, I noticed the same thing, that this one, Bellini, kind of just comes off in sheets a little bit. Whereas this one is a little bit more diffuse. So something you should be aware of. And the last product that you get within the collection that pertains to the eye are these. These are Creme. Well, it's got one of those, like, say, pronounce it fancy marks. So I don't know. And there's an E at the end of Creme, so pretty fancy. Creme gel liner. So you get 2 of them. One is Sincerely Yours. It is a brown. And then XOXO, which I really like. It's more of like a dark graphite. These go on pretty smooth because they are a gel cream. but they do kind of smudge a little throughout the day. So be aware if you're going to try to use these for a sultry cat eye, they're not best suited for it. Even though I did that today, I can pull that off, but I also used this little guy. This is the only context that I will use sponge on a stick, is to help kind of smudge a gel liner into place. And to also construct this eye look, I did do XOXO underneath with the liner, did a little smudging with this, and then used this pencil brush with a little bit of, well, that's not the pencil brush. And I used this pencil brush with a little bit of the blue shade on it and pressed it into the eyeliner to give it a bit of a blue, which makes my my smoky crease read more of that pinky rosy undertone in comparison. If I used the brown, it would have had an opposite effect. Especially on this eye with OG, which is more champagne-y, it would have read less rose if you use it brown as comparison. Because, you know, it's not complementary, it's analogous. Learning every day. So moving right along into the next category of components, we're going to look at the face story. And they do give you two face products. They give you this blush Soulmate, which I really, really like. It's very pinky and it's not too much. On the first wipe, it does show up, but it's very buildable. So you're not going to look like some kind of Pepto-Bismol nightmare old lady stalker weirdo. And I like it a lot. It does go well with this. This is Swipe Right. It is the highlighter. I need to open this up and show you what it actually looks like in the container, because this highlighter has some expectation management problems. So if you look at this, it's kind of, it looks beige. In person, me looking at it now in the pan, it looks more on the yellow side, and since I've used it a few times, the sheen on top reads pink. So this is definitely a different kind of highlighter. So I swatched it on my back of my hand, and hopefully you can kind of see that it does have this really yellowy gold shift into pink. Therefore, you really need to be strategic with this, because you can make yourself look fucking stupid pretty easy with the thing, which I did earlier this week. So it's not blinding. You can see it on me that mostly you could see the pink, and it on top of this blush kind of works, and it does have a little bit of a gold shift. But if you try to like use it as an all-over highlighter, like on your nose and your Cupid bow, depending on what your skin tone is and your shade range is, it could go really, really bad. Like for me, I'm way too light for that kind of move. Somebody of like, that's really got a nice golden tan complexion, I think it would totally work and look stunning. So just be aware that this does not work the same on all skin tones, which, you know, that shit happens, but it does not look like anything on the product. And this commercial doesn't look anything like on the skin like it does on this ad, so the ad is pretty misleading. That's kind of a bigger thing now, is having like a little bit of a gold moment with a pink shift. I have the Canary Bling from Jeffree Star, and that definitely has that, but the pink is more of like glittery chunks than like, you know, a pink sheen. But that's something that's kind of a thing right now. The last component you get in the Brunch Date Collection are these. These are fucking fantastic, and probably my favorite part about this whole collection. These are lip bundles. Do they have a cute name? Give us the goss. I don't know what the goss is. I don't know if I really want it. So please tell me what goss is, and I'll let you know if I so desire to have it in my life. but I like having these in my life, god damn it. These are really, really cool. So there's 2 neutrals, one red, a blue base red that I wore. These are swatches of them and their corresponding liner. These are fucking fabulous. My favorite one, I believe, is this one. It is whatever the fuck these 2 are. So these are, the color is Little One, and I think they're both Little One and Little One. So 2 of these have a ultra matte lip with a lip liner that are slightly different shades, but these are identical. I'm wearing this right now. I'm all about the neutral matte. This looks really, really good on. This liner is fucking bae. It goes on really smooth. The one thing I don't like about it, I don't know how to like fix that this is plastic. Do I sharpen this with a pencil sharpener? Like, what the fuck do I actually do to get more product? Because I've worn this down a little bit and I want to keep on going. So, people in the know, hook a 6 up and tell me how to fucking sharpen this thing. This is a great formula of matte lip. Granted, when you put it on, if your lips are dry and cracked, you are going to have the worst time with this. You're going to hate this. It's going to look bad. It doesn't, so it's kind of like Tattoo Junkie. Remember when I tried out that weird shit, the Tattoo Junkie lip paint? Vodka resistant. Nice. Well, this kind of feels like it going on, but it doesn't feel or smell like a bunch of fucking chemicals, but it is very drying like the lip paint, so you gotta have moist lips going into it. This definitely helps. So if you line the lips and kind of take it onto your lips a little bit, this adheres to it fucking fantastically. It dries down completely really, really fast, so if you overdraw and kind of fuck it up, then sorry. But this is really good. It dries down completely. There is like no transfer. It feels kind of like Jeffree Star, but I kind of like this formula better. I know. This, I know, it's fucking crazy, but this formula, it doesn't feel quite as dry quite as quickly. Granted, it does not have that unbelievable staying power. It is very, very close. This flakes off sooner than that, but you're still getting hours out of this, and it feels a little bit nicer. This shade itself, Little One, is very close to Mannequin, which I can't find mine, so I can't compare it, but it also is very close to this. This is Birthday Suit in ammo form. So, love these. And the best part about, like, this group hug, the palette, these, you can buy each of these separately. You can buy all 3 of these in a pack, or you can just buy one. You could buy this together. You could buy the liners completely separate, or the palette by itself. Even the fucking dumb clear makeup bag that it comes with, you can just get this. So you can go a la carte, or you can do the whole collection. It's totally up to you. So my final thoughts concerning this collection, I do not regret that I got the whole thing because of the price was really fucking super cheap at $92 to get all of this stuff. Pretty good buy. Colourpop historically has really decent prices. Again, the lip kits were the star of the show for me personally, and I really do love that blush. So yeah, if I knew more about this, I might have just stuck to getting those. Even though the palette is really nice, it's not something that I need to have or envision myself using all the time, but this is a good palette for, just going to work or something that you don't want to keep really, really serious. I do have to comment that my eyes get really easily irritated by eyeshadows and other products. This palette and the liquid eyeshadows that I used did not irritate my eyes whatsoever. So that alone makes me like that I have this in my life. I could have liked the liquid eyeshadows more if there was a little bit more diversity in the colors and the shade. I think they were way too similar, and especially, like I said, Bellini formula is a little different than the OG formula, which I like the OG formula better because it doesn't flake off into sheets onto my face and off my eyes. But it wasn't too terrible. I've used worse quality products. So this is good. So just go into it knowing that you can buy different components a la carte separately, which is a nice option. Buying it all together, if you want the majority of the collection, I think it's worth it given that you get all of this for $92. And the Colourpop site is evil like other makeup sites where it has easy pay. So you could go fucking apeshit and buy this and everything else under the sun and pay it in installments with no interest as long as you make the payments. You won't be fucking yourself way too much. Well, that's it. If you have other collections that you want me to really give a full week of use out of and share my findings afterwards, leave a comment down below to kind of guide me on that journey. And that's it.